in some of these cases. Certainly we're going to answer who is Australasia's number one junior. So we've got Jamie Barrett and Hamza Hodzic, who will be competing for that title, the AWE junior title. That question wasn't answered at the recent Australian Arm Wrestling Federation titles, unfortunately, as they did hold that event in a casino, which excluded juniors from attending.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame, but great for the AWE to be able to take up that mantle and to give these young athletes a platform, an international platform. And all of these matchups will be contested inside an ISCA-certified cage. So at the Apex Sport Fest, there will be a full MMA DFC card, somewhere between 12 and 15 fights on that night, and those matchups, of which there will be 2 title belts decided, will be held in the same cage as all of the arm wrestling matchups that you'll see on this particular card, which I believe for an international event is a first, and I believe the first time ever arm wrestling was contested inside an ISCA certified cage, or would have been at one of our events at DFC 14 or 15 earlier this year. So so it's not, for us, it's not unusual to see arm wrestling elevated and in such an exalted position in the centre of a cage. But for the rest of the world, this is going to be quite the spectacular presentation of sport, quite the spectacle. And as a result, we've been able to attract the biggest names in the sport in the region, and some of those big names are making their way over here, and some of those names are fresh off very, very big performances at the recent Australian titles. So what I'm really excited about is that we've got this opportunity to work out who the number one junior in the country is. Ryan's been talking some shit over the last 6 or so months, hasn't he? Really, like he's been on the Jamie Barrett trail, and I guess proximity to excellence will do that to you. It will obscure your views as to who else might be out there in the world. And I guess in a similar way, we've had access to young Hamza Hodzic, and so this is really interesting because you've got 2 developing athletes, and and whoever wins out of this, I think arm wrestling's the big winner, but both of the athletes have a huge future outside of this. So although we might be deciding who Australia's number one junior is, I don't think that's the be-all and end-all for either athlete on this occasion, because I think both have a huge future ahead of them. Both young athletes are seemingly growing by an inch a week and putting on 5 kilos every 2 weeks. And Hamza has been introduced to the sport over the last 12 or so months, has been training quite heavily with the SA Titans, quickly gravitated to the top echelons of the club. So he's been training quite heavily with Laz Bolter, who's also featuring on our card, who's quite an accomplished South African arm wrestler and one of the top guys in the region currently, and also been working very closely with Taryn Broad. And so as a result of his proximity to those top performing athletes and some of the, I guess, them sharing some of those arm wrestling secrets with Hamza, he's taken that all on board. And not only that, but physically, the kid's 6 inches taller than what he was 6 months ago. I mean, and I'll say 6 or 8 months ago, we would have an arm wrestler, and I'd feel like I'd have some kind of a chance with him, and there is no chance whatsoever. Now he's gone well beyond my level, and I liken it almost to having trained in my younger days, having done some powerlifting training, and my training partner at the time, he decided he'd try some vitamin S, and he went ahead and leaps and bounds. That's what it's like when you're dealing with some of these 16, 17-year-old athletes. Hamza, I felt like I was able to keep up, and then 3 weeks later, there was no chance in the world, no chance in the world. But the thing is, he's going to keep going in that direction, and to have that specificity around strength, that specific arm wrestling strength, that pronator strength and that hand strength and that wrist strength at such a young age, and to have that arm wrestling architecture in place so early puts both of these athletes in such a good position as they start to expand and their influence within the sport and start to grow within the sport and find new opportunities in the sport. And it's going to be absolutely amazing to see where a Hamza Hodzic or a Jamie Barrett are in 10 years' time when they weigh something similar to an Adam Law or a Gunzers Boykov. I mean, we've got some really spectacular young talent in Australia, and it's going to be fascinating to see how Jamie, who's come off of his tour of America, competes against a relative unknown in Hamza Hodzic, who's had some regional success and has certainly proven himself to be one of the top young guns regionally. How's he going to go when he's put up against Ryan Bowen's favourite, Jamie Barrett?
That's right, absolutely. That is a big question mark again, and this is again one of the reasons that this whole card is filled with incredible matches, because it's like, I don't know who's going to win this one. Jamie Barrett coming off, as you said, a successful tour of the US and beating a world champion, a former world champion, in one of the matches that he had there, and training ridiculously hard, fully dedicated to the sport. Ryan Bowen has mentioned that Jamie will nearly every night of the week be catching a train 2 hours somewhere to go and train with somebody, and then 2 hours back home before he gets up at 6 a.m. to go to work.
Dedication.
Absolutely, and again, both lovely guys. Hamza, has increased in not only size and physicality, but his knowledge, and when you explain something to him, he picks it up so quickly.
Table IQ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exceptional.
And then, being able to, he's using that advice that you gave him against you the next week, and you're like, that's right, I forgot that I told him that. But, that is an unknown, but it will be an incredible match, the junior title for the AWE, and, both guys. Wow, I would say this, from just what I've seen in terms of footage and knowledge of being on the table with Hamza, I'd say that Hamza has the power advantage, and the longer the match goes, I think the better for Hamza. I think Jamie is really explosive, very fast off the mark. So it's going to come down a lot to set up, and whether Hamza is able to implement a game plan that favours him to be able to get a stop, because Jamie is quick off the mark, and if Hamza is caught napping, he will be pinned before he realises the match has started. So it could be a 3 flash pin win, or it could be an extended war. So
So is Jamie 17 yet? Or is he still 16?
I think he's 16 at the moment.
Still 16, big 16-year-old, but still 16. Hamza's 17, just turned 17 late last year, I believe. So quite evenly matched in terms of age and in terms of weight and physicality. This is a very, very good matchup. So we are going to find out who is the number one junior in the Australasian region and who will walk away as the AWE junior champion. That's going to be a spectacular matchup. So really looking forward to that one.
Well, Hamza, just to finish on that, when he went to the Garage Wars, he had a match scheduled in Melbourne, which a few of the South Australian guys went over for, and Hamza ended up winning his match so dominantly and so comfortably that they were like, do you want to have another match? And then he won that one as well.
He won it just as comfortably.
Yeah. So it was, he'd flown all the way here, and he won like it was, a practice. And it was like, well, if you still got something, which you obviously did, we'll get you another opponent. And I think he probably could have had another one after that. So,
yeah. This is it's going to answer some big questions, and I think kind of sets up somewhat of a rivalry that might see both of these young athletes through their careers. When you get two very evenly matched figures arise at a very similar time, it's very difficult for commentators and speculators of the sport to not make those comparisons. And I think either way, as a result of this matchup and this just the perfect timing of this event, that both of these athletes, their futures are going to be intrinsically entwined for many, many years to come. So I think this will be the first of many Hamza Hodzic versus Jamie Barrett battles that you're going to see across the table, and hopefully the first of many on the AWE card, because both of these young athletes, I think, have a lot more to give beyond this particular event. But only one young man can walk away with the strap, and it will be the Hamza or Jamie on the 25th of February walking outside of that cage with their very well-earned strap across their shoulder. So